waiting for David. We have a quorum, so the first order of business is we don't have any public hearings opening up, but we have a continued public hearing for Sprint Spectrum site plan review for the tower that's off of Able Street. I think everybody knows what it is. 745. Okay, we have 15 minutes to knock down some minutes here, and we have quite a few. It's your preference if you would like to go from Katrina's minutes back to, as you know, in the interim we have minutes from Katrina, we have Karen Milo, and we have Marianne. What was back the 29th? Is that maybe January 4th?
I'd like to start with January 4th.
Okay, going forward. Let's do so. So January 4th is for comment and approval. I have no comments.
I have no comments.
No, that was, we started the discussion on Oxford and we were in the beginning of it, so there's no comments in there.
Sorry, I can barely hear you.
Sorry, Joe.
I think
this was January, sorry. It's not that warm out, is it?
No, the air conditioner is loud.
All right, can I have a motion to approve January 4th, 2012 meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Well, that's good. The next one is February 29th, 2012.
Right, I have a couple comments. First on page 2, the fourth paragraph. At the end of that fourth paragraph, it says, the Supreme Court ruled that this bylaw is illegal, this bylaw being our bylaw. And that's really not what the Supreme Court ruled. I mean, I don't want to leave the impression that our bylaw was illegal. So I think it should say the court ruled that a similar type of rate of development bylaw was illegal.
You want to repeat that for the
Yeah, the Supreme Court ruled that a similar type of rate of development bylaw was illegal. And then on page 6,
Sorry, the bylaw, a similar type of rate of development bylaw was
illegal,
illegal.
not our bylaw.
And can I think I have misprinted ones because mine go from page 1 to page 3, unless they were just numbered wrong.
That was what happened, I told you. So you can use one.
Is there,
That's
there is
a
a page
complete
2. Well, no, I wrote down what needs to go
I
on page 2.
have a page.
So I'll just do it.
I'm not going to put some of the previous meeting.
Okay.
And on page 6,
Sorry, what was the date?
February 29th.
Oh, so.
Page 6, the second paragraph, where it says Kurt interrupted and stated. I think it should just be Kurt stated. No, it goes past editorial comments.
You have that?
That's all I have.
Pete?
Good.
This is going back quite a way, but I'll take a motion to approve February 29th, 2012 meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
As amended.
That's amended. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. The next one is March 7th. That should be quick.
Yep.
Can I take a motion to approve those?
I'll make that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so that's March 7th. The next one is March 14th.
There are things missing in here.
Oh, these are the the ones that I typed from Mary Ann's handwritten notes. And
Yeah, there's, let's see if I can get mine.
if you can't from memory fill in the blanks, because some of them just may make more sense to you, I can always watch the video.
Or why don't we table those? I can go over those with them. I mean, for example, on the first page, continue public hearing for Alta Patio. Yeah, there's some,
Yeah, I got it.
right, ask the applicants to make an application, make this plan. Discuss this.
I just don't.
I can make the Katrina. We'll go over those. I have a couple things to fill in, but those are mostly typos, like on page 2. You know, instead of Brian, all the way through, it should be Brian.
Yes, I noticed that too.
And there's a blank there, two blank with Kilty, Attorney Kilty,
Yeah.
to speak with, which I did. All right, we'll table those sections. Let's get through those. All right.
Yeah, because I had questions on the same lines.
All right, we'll table 14. Hi, all right,
Good for you.
March 28th. This is a similar situation on the 28th,
I think it was.
so I would recommend on the 28th to put some more effort into that, maybe go into the video.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's obvious changes there, SANR should be A&I.
Good.
Hey, David, how are you?
Subdivision
I'm good.
approval, not required.
Sorry I'm late.
We're going to table that one,
Previous meeting.
which means we'll still have 5 minutes, April 25th. Did you pass out to everyone the new one?
I know Jean got it, and,
It was in the Dropbox.
right, I've actually got the revised one here, and I can actually tell you what I've filled in for certain areas that. we
I'd
did
rather
that.
go on, because I only have 5 minutes, I want to do the ones we can definitely do.
Okay.
That's, I think, the most efficient way of doing it. June 20th?
What are we doing?
June 20th?
Oh,
They were on June 20th minutes. Should I ask?
What's that?
Should I ask?
Oh, I'm with the Boss Road.
Okay. Could you give your name?
Oh, Lisa Poole. Lisa
To
Poole.
the planner?
What was your last name?
Lisa Poole.
P-O-O-L,
Liddy.
with an E.
I have a June 20th, second, 752nd paragraph. To reword any hazardous or toxic materials and inspected annually. Typically, we had asked in a previous meeting, that refers to the golf course.
Right.
And those, well, not inspected annually, they're just kept track of and put in the, the golf course has to keep track of that stuff for EPA purposes, for DEP purposes. So inspected annually, just, how should we word that? I just,
I don't know, what's the more accurate?
You
Why-
mean
why
it's
is that
not
not
a proper
accurate?
sentence?
well, inspected, you don't really inspect toxic material because, this is,
Inventory?
yeah, I inventory it. And then also the next paragraph, there was also a pond with a fountain. Does anybody?
I don't recall the fountain. In the next sentence, I think we need Petitioner is seeking a waiver of the setbacks in the wetlands, which Mr. Graham does not support. Waiver of the setbacks in the wetlands. Yeah.
Are the carriage back?
Yeah.
Setback from the buildings.
Right, that's right.
That was the original waiver, not the setback.
The,
Front setback.
The ratios.
no,
Front setback.
yeah, I think that's what Larry was talking about, because he didn't support it, so we were talking about the front setback. Yeah, right. Nothing, had nothing to do with wetlands, so.
No, that was, yeah, that was front setbacks for the houses.
So I would just take out in the wetlands and put front of setback.
Got it.
When you take out wetlands. Also on the,
Oh, there's just the next sentence, is just a typo. The use of the common driveways is not to be contemplated. It's not contemplated.
next page.
Well, before we get there, the final paragraph where Chairman Bryan notes that just because the court can be used as open space, it does not give the project a free pass. I think that was what I actually said that. Not that that's a big deal.
How do you want it to be changed?
We'll change that to Cliff Pierce.
I remember using those words.
Page 2.
Page 2, I think there's one sentence that just needs to be stricken. This project had to undergo a great reduction in rewrite.
How many paragraphs down?
It's really the first paragraph. It's a continuation of the previous page, and this is the first paragraph. This project had to undergo a great reduction in rewrite. I would just strike that.
Yeah.
Any other comments on June 20th? Barring any other comments, take a motion to approve those minutes.
I make a motion to approve those minutes as noted.
A second.
As amended, seconded by Cliff Pierce. All those in favor?
Aye.
June 20th is approved. The next one is June 27th. I just changed the discussion of the final three applicants for position of town planner. I'm just suggesting this change. Mr. Pierce was all three good applicants, and it goes to Katrina Leary because of her familiarity and experience with the town, and then strike the next 5 words.
Did you want to add the word "and experience"?
Yes.
What was right?
She has great vision. It's just kind of little.
Yeah.
That's upset. Is that all right? I'll wait for you.
What are you, 2020, Fran?
He knows I have reading glasses.
I know. Third paragraph, the second to last sentence. I don't think clients have been frustrated. That should be out. maintenance or
The public.
Clients, first I pass with those boards.
can replace the word clients?
With what?
Applicants, yeah.
Applicants.
Clients, no.
And going forward positively is key. We'd rather say, and proceeding in a positive manner is important or something like that. Forward positively is key. That's right, Jason. And what that implies is that the board wants to go forward in a positive manner. And that's something like that. That's important.
Proceeding in a positive manner is important. Is that okay?
Next paragraph. Third sentence. He had great ideas, but needs to articulate them in detail.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yep.
Next sentence. However, Katrina seems to be the most qualified person for the job.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And last paragraph, I just like, instead of having informal, the board publicly thanks Deborah, you just put the full names. Can you add those?
Her name.
The full names, yeah.
Yeah.
Deborah Egan.
Oh, and, okay. And Amy.
Any other comments on that?
Yeah, at the bottom, the last paragraph, the way it's worded is kind of awkward. The land not being a subdivision does not require approval. I would say, change it to the proposed development is not a subdivision, therefore approval under the subdivision control law is not required.
So we'll repeat that, please.
Sure. Proposed development is not a subdivision, therefore approval under the subdivision control law is not required.
Okay, that's better. With those amendments on June 27th, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Seconded by David. All those in favor?
Aye.
I have to go to the next item. We can do the 27th and, no, we can do April, we can do August after that. So. All right, the first item on the agenda is Sprint Spectrum. I just, when's the next meeting? I just want to continue that to the next meeting in September.
The board is to decide in September when they want to meet. September 5th, 12th, 19th, and 26th.
12th is bad for me, I can't make it. Can you read that calendar for me?
It's 5, 12, 19, and 26.
Any day's good for me.
Which one?
5, 12, 19, and 26. David can't do 12.
What's that? I can't do the 12th.
You can do the 5th?
I can do the 5th.
That's right, that's 2 weeks from now?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
What date you picking?
The 5th?
5th.
We'll continue Sprint to the 5th. And we have 5 more minutes to...
At what time would you like
We
to
did a vote.
schedule it?
Yeah, can I,
Actually, I do need to vote on that.
can I have a motion to continue Sprint Spectrum site plan review wireless modification 467 Havel Street site plan review for the 5th of September? And we'll do that at 7:30.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And again, I think at that point, did they say to you that they thought they would have it done by then?
They have no way of knowing because they need to wait for the Conservation Commission to approve their revised plans and their conditions and to write a letter to us. So he doesn't even know when the Conservation Commission meets next. They usually meet every 2 weeks, but I know they did just meet this past Tuesday, the 21st, so they may meet the day after Labor Day, I'm not sure.
Okay.
And that would be, I mean, Brent usually writes his letters pretty quick, but that's pushing it to get it done in one day.
We don't know when the next meeting is in September, so we have to continue. We can do that. They have finally met on site. This was an expired order of conditions,
Right.
so I think they're working to comply with that. We have 5 more minutes, and we're going to do that. So I have a motion, so I'll just,
Did you continue it to the 5th,
Yeah,
to a certain time?
7:30.
7:30?
Thanks for getting rid of approval of this one. The last set of minutes is pending August 8th. I think we have time to do those before we open up Karen's lines again. Any comments?
So,
Okay, a couple minutes, David. August 8th.
August 8th, we're gonna do it. See if I can find it.
Just as a point of information, number 2. Said his wife presented a request to extend the Meeting House Village subdivision tripartite form of the bond and to revise it for 1 year,
Yeah.
which is expiring by the end of this month. And Cliff, we're still waiting for Mr. Alvazar has been in contact with our planner and his lawyer to provide documentation of pending litigation. So we're still waiting for that. And that's a condition of our vote.
He has been in touch with me every other day, too, so he's on top of it.
I didn't know, I thought they were good. Take a minute. Are there any other comments?
Done.
Amendment?
yeah, make a motion to approve.
Motion made for second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, it's really good, except for 2 that we need to fill in some blanks.
Yeah. Great.
That's great.
Wow, that's pretty dark.
5.
June and February. We did June and February too.
In January.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, January.
Can't remember that.
Living in the
part.
past.
just want to, people appreciate, you know, the planner, you know, grid here. One of the things that Katrina was doing, she had the agenda items and the attachments, updates up to the point of the meeting, you know, because people are constantly communicating with the office now. So short notes on that communication in the update column, and then the action required is in the last column. And the one you have, it doesn't have the action, but that was, going forward, that might be something that would be helpful.
Yes.
Add in more columns, and have to turn the other one.
Yeah, I just happened tonight, I had some time, so I added these 2 columns, but this isn't the form I would want it to be in. Unless this is easy for the board.
Well, here's one thing. If you go on the, we might as well take a vote on this. Would the board consider giving the chairman authority to approve expense and payroll vouchers at this time? Everybody has to come in and sign those, and that's okay with the...
Well, the ZBA did it.
Just on your own signature?
Yeah, and then every month, or every meeting, I will give these to the board. And this does, you know, give a quick summary of everything that money is spent on, and the money that is deposited into the account too for the technical consultant involved.
I think it's a good idea, if it's okay with the town and it's okay with you. Sure.
Make it much easier for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know in the past people have gone out of their way to come in during office hours to sign. Is that all right? Great. Is there a motion to approve that change in office
I'll make that
procedure?
motion.
I actually printed up two separate letters, so if you could take 2 separate motions for payroll and expenses, and then you can sign them at the end of the meeting.
Okay. I just want to vote, just bring it up to the board and vote while we have time to say something. So Cliff brought up the motion, a second.
Second.
By G. All those in favor?
Aye.
I just want to continue the hearing for the residences at Carriage Pines, 237 Dodge Road at 8 o'clock.
Good evening, Jill. Did you leave us this round?
Oh, I can take that if you want.
I didn't know if you wanted it behind me.
Does the board feel strongly that everyone should sign it? Okay, I'll just be careful to get everyone's name who speaks.
Good evening, Jill Mann here on behalf of Carriage Pines Mutual Realty with regard to this application. Here with me this evening is Chris Baragis. He's partners with Rich Williams, one of the members of the Williams and Baragis Engineering Design Firm. As most of you know, the design subcommittee had met with Mr. Graham, and they had come up with some suggestions for us to incorporate into the plan. And then Mr. Graham met with Chris Baragis and tried to work through some of the concepts. I think you'll note that one of the things that we really were not able to integrate was there was a design concept that took some of the duplexes and turned them into single-family homes. The problem is, once we reduce below a certain number of single-family homes, trying to do a mixed development is very difficult. To just try and sell 3 single-family homes would almost mean we would be stuck with 3 single-family homes, or trying to sell them at a price point that would be similar to a townhouse, which we couldn't do. That's why. It's pure economics. It just drives the inability to have single-family at that minor a level. However, as you can see, we did take. Can you see that? We did integrate many of your concepts. We clearly didn't have the opportunity to take this to our landscape designer yet. We plan on doing that after this. It just, one day was just not enough time to try and turn it around. But as you can see, what we have done, if you will, I'm just going to go through all the changes. When you come in the entrance, instead of having the bulged, if you will, access points where you can pull over to get your mail, we incorporated the suggestion made by Mr. Graham, which was to actually just have 4 parking spaces so that people can pull to the side of the road and not have to get out of the car in the middle of traffic in order to access the mail box. In addition to that, we did incorporate the parking field and reduce the area for the commercial parking lot so that it would just not have so much open parking for the golf course. In addition to that, we tried to incorporate that concept into 3 different lobes, if you will. And by doing so, we did originally had some concept here where we had a lot more pavement, and I think the committee didn't like that because we had a cul-de-sac and then sort of an elongated turnaround, if you will. So what we did was we incorporated, instead of the concept, and just had them all linked. So we have one larger recreational, if you will, open space area in the middle. I noticed that this area may appear not to be as large as what was originally given to us, but believe it or not, we didn't add any more density up here. It's just that when you try to do it to scale and you need a certain amount of distance for traffic, this is what the result is, in particular when we have the sidewalk going down the center. But we do plan on landscaping appropriately, and we'll clearly provide the board with a concept plan for that. As well as you can see that we did incorporate a lot of the side entrance driveways that were also part of the directive. And you can see how we have the walking trail coming through. Clearly, this is all open green space, and we could have colored the whole thing, but it is all open green. Just, I don't know, for brevity sake, we didn't include in green the whole thing. In addition to that, as you come through, one of the other large concerns was so much pavement with regard to the cul-de-sac. So we took that into account, and Mr. Graham had actually made a suggestion. Look, if you have simply this turnaround area, it's easy for a emergency vehicle clearly to go through the gate because it's going to be their gate. It's intended to be for emergency purposes. So there's no real need for them to do a complete turnaround here. They can simply exit, and if there is a need to turn around, a large vehicle could traverse and come through. But we will obviously have it reviewed and approved. This was a
Is
suggestion.
the fire department, I mean, do you think if cars are parked there, does that serve the purpose?
There's all
If
cars
are
parked.
there? No, but if they're parked there, would that satisfy the fire department?
I think it still will. I mean, that's over. How wide is
That's
that?
something we'll have to review.
But we will with the fire department. In addition, though, there is our gate. I mean, you go right out. So that was why we said, okay, you know what, maybe we don't need this cul-de-sac to do the turnaround, which does provide vehicles with clear and unfettered access and turnaround radius. It's just that, you know, the desire to minimize pavement, we tried to incorporate that concept and did that.
And you made parallel parking here instead of...
We did.
straight?
We had the I don't know what it's called, parallel, but what's it called, straight-in parking, whatever.
That's right.
So we did alter it to make it so that there would be less, again,
It's more green space.
exactly, more green space, make it a little thicker so we have a larger area with which to decorate and landscape. And again, this plan is so large, the scale is large, that's actually a decent-sized area in between. And I just want to say, you know, we've tried to honor the request of this committee. I mean, as you know, we took an original large-scale plan, we toned it back. How many lots how many units did we reduce by? 8? Is it a total?
Ralph, do you remember that number?
The original number?
Vision number
It's 40.
40, okay, 40, we reduced by 4. We reduced all the footprints of the individual homes as well. We did actually make them a little smaller to try and accommodate and make it a little bit more of a, if you will, tighter subdivision and to
How
have
much
more.
smaller are they?
How much, what did we do? It was like
They went down
10%?
to, it was like 2,250 square feet, down to 1,800 to 2,000.
No, we went down 10 to 15% on each one.
From what?
2,250 to 1,800, they range between 1,800 and 2,000.
So we did try to incorporate. Again, I realize that we don't have landscaping here, but the purpose of this was to try and get out that concept, to get a final plan so that we can work through with Mr. Graham all of the concepts with regard to engineering and set up the concept plan and the, if you will, the siting, right? And we also have continued to work with our architect to be able to create the designs But I think you understand, Mr. Jack, we're trying to wait until we actually have the final so that we know how we want to set up the architectural elevations for each of the homes, because we'll propose that when we show it to you, but it's easier to do it once we have a concept. So now I'm just going to let you digest, because I recognize this is the first time anybody has seen this, and see if you have any questions.
Yeah, just to reiterate,
Yes.
the subcommittee, just so
Yeah.
the abutters that can't hear it tonight, Larry, do you want to summarize just a bit?
The subcommittee met on Monday evening, the subcommittee being Chairman Bryant and Vice Chairman Pierce and the town planner Katrina O'Leary, myself, and reviewed essentially a second concept, third iteration concept plan from Williams and Spragus. And they had submitted, besides that plan, a couple of other potential suggestions for that middle area as well as the northerly end of the project. And the subcommittee then took all those things, meshed them together, directed myself to have a meeting with the applicant's engineer, who is represented this evening by Chris Barajas. We met yesterday, and they put together this plan that they just explained to the board in response to all that coming together. And the objective was of the subcommittee as well as the applicant here, I think, as Attorney Mann just stated, was to try to pull together a concept plan which the board can accept, so that we can move on, they can move on, the board can move on with review of more details with respect to engineering, architecture, landscape, legal issues, etc.
Can you just expand a little bit on the legal issues?
I'm not sure that they're entirely legal, but they'll probably be put together by the applicant's legal team as well as reviewed by the town attorney, which relate to the relationship of the golf course being the open space component of this project to not only the town, not only the residential component of the project, but also to the town and the public use thereof by residents of the town or public. That's probably one of the bigger things. The other thing that comes into play there would be the golf course itself, the open space itself, and what might become of the open space should the golf course not be a golf course any longer. That was one of the large concerns, I think, of not only this board going into this, but also of some of the residents. I think that probably kind of puts it all in a nutshell.
People have any, well, is it okay, can I open it to the audience or
Absolutely.
Jill?
Oh, most certainly, most certainly.
Any comment? Could you state your name, please? and-
Leah Lyons from 200 Dodge Road. I want to know if this is a bonded project, so should it not be completed, would the town require a bond on this project so the insurance company could pick someone else, or however the bond works? I'm very concerned in this economy that this will fall short of their desires and leave us with an eyesore in our town and in our neighborhood. I would like the project to be bonded, if possible. Is that a
Very good
consideration?
Well, that's our usual practice.
Okay.
And I just might add that we've got a long way to go before we approve this project, if we approve it.
Okay.
And that issue, as well as many other issues, such as the phasing of the development, will need to be discussed. But we're not there. We're not even there yet, so that's why we're not talking about it.
Okay, because I haven't heard that. All right,
Yeah,
thank
we
you.
typically have an agreement, some surety in some fashion to make sure projects get finished. It's, sometimes you're right, they take a number of years
Yeah.
for various reasons. I don't think the developer here tonight, you don't have a, I mean, your history is not like that. No.
Yeah.
And you can, sure, I mean, it's true. I mean,
Oh,
it depends on the developer. I mean, we have a developer here who actually doesn't have a history of not finishing projects in a fashion, a contiguous fashion.
But we also,
Which is true, but we also have to be aware that once permits are issued, they can be sold to anyone, so we don't really, we basically require some kind of surety in every project, regardless of
we also have an
reputation of
economy.
developers.
we also have an economy that's entirely different than we've ever faced before,
Correct.
as far as I'm concerned, in my lifetime anyway. And then I wanted to also know if there's going to be any affordable housing in this project.
There's no plan for that.
Should there be?
Well, our bylaw doesn't require it. This particular section of the bylaw does not require it. The board hasn't really discussed that issue. Could ask for it as part of our special permit authority.
I think
Do you think there should be?
Yes, I do. I absolutely do. It was a consideration for the other builder, and I know that's all gone bad, but I think affordable housing is important, and I don't think we have enough in this town. And I think it should be a consideration. How many, I don't know.
Wasn't his affordable housing going to be placed in the downtown portion of the...
That's right.
That's where it is.
So it wasn't...
But it's, even though it was a package deal, there was still some affordable housing for Rowley, and I just think it's important.
That's correct.
Yeah, I think he got, I think she needs to be aware of the fact that you get a density bonus when you do that, so you're,
Yeah, you can, yeah.
I mean, when you do an affordable component, you are actually allowed to increase density. I don't know that, I think that people need to be aware of that.
Well, that's just my personal...
No, I just was letting you know, I just didn't know if you knew the whole gambit of what an affordable component to a subdivision entails, and I think it's fair that everybody should know that.
Well, there's a minimum affordable requirement under our multifamily bylaw, which is 10%? It's one on
I don't know.
So it's far less than 40B development. But this is not being proposed under a multifamily bylaw, it's being proposed under our OSRD bylaw, which doesn't have an explicit affordable requirement. But,
What does OSD stand?
I'm sorry, open space residential development, that's what this is.
Okay, all right.
While he's looking that up, I might as well comment on, as an architect on the board, this is a improvement over the past proposal. I think one of the things we have to worry about, and it gets into the architect and landscaping bailiwick, is that we now have 2 units, 2 units, 2 units, 2 units, and there's less variability with that. Maybe the push and shove of the 2 units can jockey around with the architect and the variety of elevations and what he does with the elevations. I'm not as concerned about the exact number of square feet in each unit, that you may want to vary one up a little bit on the second floor or something like that to accommodate some visual thing that makes it so there's no monotony in the project. I do appreciate that you have the green space and there's a little bit of separation of the threeness, not quite there yet, but it's much better than previously presented.
How many
How-
units are there?
36.
There are a total of 10 side load garage units. Chris. It says, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Right, and that's an improvement, but I am just looking at this plan, tonight for the first time, just a couple initial impressions that from units 34 to 29, I mean, they're grouped in pretty tightly, and you got a basically line of 12 garages. So that's, aesthetically, that's not going to be too good. So I'd like you to think about ways of mitigating that.
I think in some cases you can tighten up the units with the use of landscaping and not get such a regimented
Right.
thing like.
I was gonna, just a thought, if you could, I know I know we're trying to accomplish a lot here, and we're trying to create pods in conformance with your idea.
I did not use the word pods.
Clusters, that's...
Clusters, groupings.
I mean, I wonder if you can move these units up into this cluster or pod, and then even maybe with common driveways, and additional side entrance
That would give
driveways.
some more freedom to work with.
Right. So I think that would still create a cluster effect, but will give you more room, I think, maybe to create more side entrance driveways, and possibly a common driveway might make sense here and there.
But in these all too, it's hard because I think that when Mr. Jacob had talked to our architect, there was a lot of plans to do a lot of more of, back and forth instead of just like a straight road like you see. So there's even the possibility of taking some forward, taking some back to try and give variability, because it looks like they're all the same, but we had brought in a few of the architectural, remember
Yes.
Sanders had sent you a few of them, and they're pretty variable. So I think too, if we scoot this over, we might be able to do something a little different here. Common driveways can be a little
I know you don't like
difficult.
that.
Well, only because then, inevitably some teenage kid goes in, gets out of the car to go do something, leaves the car running, the other person's trapped in the house, and it happens with common drives all the time.
So you're
Or you have
trying to
somebody.
give
That's
the buyers independent driveways.
Yeah,
That's a goal you have as a developer?
it most certainly is.
Absolutely. Common driveways is stuff.
I've had a lot of problems with common driveways in places like Oxford where they're long, or Topsfield where they're long, even in Middleton where you have some, it's just been a nightmare.
And what Mr. Pierce is talking about, when you first come in the development, you get a series of you're just looking at like 12, just driveways. So
But I
that's what
think,
we're discussing.
yeah, and I
The
think
thing
once.
that works good is that there's a unit over, I don't know what the number is, I can't see that far.
Which one did you show me?
15, 16, it's twisted a
this.
little bit, and 13, 14, I believe, down at the end. Those little twists
Right.
help a little bit because,
And you can see we can do that here, we can
Only
kind of
cer-
do this.
Right.
And then in here, it's a potential to take this maybe, and we definitely don't want to do this, but maybe take this and twist this. I mean, this was truly just
all
an,
these spaces in between do not have to be similar,
Yeah.
but you get,
and try them.
And plus the driveways are not all the same length now.
No, and they're gonna be different still.
it's a
when we
vast
finish doing it.
improvement over where we work. So I encourage you to keep.
And what we wanted to try and do is do some sides, some fronts, so that
Yeah.
it really had variability, so it wasn't all sides, all fronts, you really had a lot to
Well, when you have a side and a front, it at times looks like one big house.
Very true, because you can't
Which gives
tell.
you a little bit more variety in it.
I mean, I really like the idea of the central green, if that's what we want to call it. I'd like to see it made bigger. I think there was a subcommittee, I think most people felt that way, I'm not sure about everyone. But I would like to just not have any parking on that. It seems, and this is just my opinion, it seems to me you have parking down here by the golf course parking lot, parking. at
What have
the
you
other
achieved
end.
now for total numbers?
We have a 38 right now on this plan, off.
38
driveway.
visitor off
Off
premises, but everybody has 4 spaces themselves.
For everyone, and
Yep.
themselves, right?
And now that the road around the green has been made one way, I think at Larry's suggestion, I don't see if once in a while when people have graduation parties or something and people park on the side of that road, I don't see that that creates a huge issue. Because it's not, it's off the main road anyway. I just
The one
don't.
tough thing
It's
is
not that wide, then,
is the
is it?
width, it's only 16 feet wide right now.
And down here, it's
No.
not.
Yeah, we narrowed
Still
it.
okay, that will work.
But
One
with
way, I
parking
mean,
lots,
Not if someone were to park and then,
That isn't sufficient to pass the distance, you need
Yeah.
24 feet
Well,
comfortably, right?
no,
I
it's
thought-
20
I thought
20
you
feet would
wanted,
be,
oh, I know,
21 way would be totally,
20?
one way.
What if we're able to eliminate these spots here,
Well, that's what we're talking about.
make, take a little from each side, make the road 20 feet.
We'll keep it one way.
You can take a little from the fronts here, take a little from the front,
way
take a
you
little
have-
from both sides.
You don't have to have parking.
Have a 20
It doesn't
and
look so
eliminate
much,
those
it's not
7
so much
spots.
mass.
Now you can really make a really fancy
Yeah.
looking
Well,
common area.
I mean, is 20 feet really necessary for a one-way road? How about 18?
I would go down to 18.
Well, what do you,
Well,
what is
not
it for an
for, not
engineering
for parking,
standard? No,
not
I don't
for
think so.
parking on the side, but I think you have the opportunity, maybe people have this pointer, of doing that just in maybe the two areas that you're in right now. Widen it out to 20 through here and back in.
Back now, right back down. right.
Yeah, right, because right now it's 16 plus 8 is 24. It's 24 right here. So if you cut 4 feet off.
That's a good idea.
Because if you're getting a fire truck down there, I mean, it's all right for cars, but I'd say 16, you're gonna get a fire truck.
16 is 20 right for them. Yeah,
But you know, like
as long as they've got the radius.
The only concern is though, is if we narrow it at 20 at some points, 18 at another point, if a car parks and then you have a couple of cars parking and then they exceed into the place where it's
They
too
don't really
small,
see
then
the subtle difference.
they won't. And then you have a fire truck or something else coming by, then it's impassable. I mean, I would ask that if we do allow the parking on the side, that we allow it to go to 20 for safety reasons. I mean, I think we can still do it, so it'll still greatly improve. We won't have this in this area. How much did we increase parking, Chris?
4 feet.
4
It's
feet?
4 feet. What's there?
I mean, potentially, as Ralph said, maybe we could take this and, you know, move this, slide this back here. I mean, this has to stay there, but we could take it and try and get, you know, the area so that we don't have the problem with it.
Well, I think what you're doing when you do that is you're taking that whole loop and you're making parallel parking that you don't need and you're not going to use. So why do it in the entire loop?
Yeah, you end up making
I
it
know,
all.
I'm just concerned.
If you wanted to make this a little bit more grand and wanted to eliminate these spaces, you could simply just, replace them.
Unless we have
Parking down there.
Well, or even,
in parking, because that'd be the way to get posted.
I like the idea of
Mr.
parallel.
Chairman, I was wondering if at some point after the board is done, we could possibly either put, if you have a second one, we could put it up here, just so everyone
No, we're
here
going, I was
knows
gonna
what
say
they're
that, no, we are.
talking about.
We will put it up.
We are going to, for everyone. No,
It's still a little conflict on this last parking area down here.
Down here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to, is that a turnaround for a fire truck or something?
It's a turnaround, period.
for anyone coming down.
I think it should be a turnaround, not, I don't know if you need all those parking spaces down there.
Well, they're trying to achieve some at either end of the site.
I don't think it'd be.
I don't think anybody's gonna use them there.
Well, I think it's the same as these here.
That makes sense.
But why does this make any more sense than that? They're on both ends of the
Well, because
development.
it's grouped with another parking lot.
But the other parking lot's for golf and not
Right.
residential.
I don't care.
Yeah, he's talking about for design
Well,
more, you're talking about utility.
I'm talking about usefulness and where, I think the idea of having guest parking was to try to spread it out as much throughout the development so that people aren't walking
Yeah, because
800 feet from
Just
each end to
down
get to
at
the
that
middle.
end, Larry, though, it seems like it's a certain urbanity created by those 8 parking spaces or whatever they are down there.
Yeah, but it's 1,300 feet away from the other.
And it might be a better way to do it, that's all.
Yeah.
Well, run shuttle buses, but I don't think they
No,
do that.
no shuttle buses.
I mean, I guess, with regard to the turnaround, do you now, you don't want us to have the off-street parking, and you want to maintain it as a 16? Because I really don't want to do
I don't know what the rate
variable.
is.
I don't want to do variable with, I think I'm going to end up with liability there, and I don't think that's.
I don't know what the answer is yet. All you're listening to is comments and
That's your prerogative.
Yeah, I mean, that I don't think is a good idea. I mean, we can
I-
take
I
away this
prefer-
parking, though.
I prefer not to encourage people to park on the side of the road with the landscaping that's going to happen. I assume you're going to slope grade it or
maybe the landscaping
kind of curve it.
solves my problem.
I think,
Is that
I
just
think
going to
I,
be grass right to street or what's it going to be? You got to, I guess Rich
For
is,
stormwater management purposes, it'll be curved, but bituminous is what the plan was.
some kind of a Cape
Cape
Cod.
Cod.
Yeah, right. Something with a little profile.
Right, that blends into the
Tends to
landscape.
hold it
but
better than the red loaf.
People are not really adverse to parking on Cape Cod burn-up, when they can get half on the street, half on, because you can drive up on them if they have to.
I mean, I suppose.
Well, I would like to see it come off the green and you think about ways of putting it somewhere else or allowing it somewhere else?
We have a problem taking that, absolutely. I don't think the line will be correct at all.
I would like to see no parking on that common area, to be honest with you. It's not a very nice shape, but I think if we could make that a real nice common area, very heavily
What,
landscaped.
in the center?
In the center, excuse me.
Can you point that out?
Yeah, I would like to see all the parking eliminated from here, so it's a very nice, long, open, green space with a walkway through it, a lot of trees, shrubs, and then we were gonna have to put some type of overflow parking here. Chris made a nice suggestion of maybe possibly putting it here, because if these people do have company, they really can't be walking all this, it's just, it makes no sense. So if we could eliminate this parking here and here, put some parking here to accommodate these people here, these are accommodated,
You put it in the middle, you don't need it.
and then down here, I agree, I don't like this parking lot either. I'd rather see some sort of turnaround, because people are gonna come in, curious people are gonna come in, you know, and if they're lost for whatever reason, they're gonna turn around. I'd hate to see somebody pulling into one of these driveways here to turn around. So I would prefer some sort of turnaround here, and possibly maybe, you know, make a couple more parking spaces here to accommodate this end. So you have parking for this end, we have parking for the center, and then we have parking for the beginning. It's a much better layout.
You're gonna keep those straight-in parking at the end?
At which end, I'm sorry?
Not the cluster, but the other.
These here?
Yeah,
Yeah, because there'll be no parking for this end.
right.
So we're spreading it out. We have,
I agree with David, it should
Here
be a
and here.
turnaround there, not that little.
So you think if we come at the end that we would do very good?
I know on previous plans we'd shown a full cul-de-sac. We could achieve the same thing with a half of a cul-de-sac. Just the ability for somebody who comes to the end.
Take a look at that, or do the hammerhead type of turnaround.
Yeah.
Hammerhead may be simpler, and it
Just do a hammerhead at the end, come around?
might
and
be, I
go
don't
back,
know, this could work.
go out.
I think a
What's
full
your first name, Chris?
Chris, that's right.
A full circle or cul-de-sac, to me seems like overkill, because you're not gonna get that many people down there, I mean.
No, they're examples of current subdivisions.
Well,
It
this-
is open, you've seen it.
Yeah.
So you have the hammerhead, just move it a little bit to the west, and that will give you room for some more straight-in parking between,
Right.
before you get there, and take the parking out of the hammerhead. I think that's what everybody's, sounds like everybody's
Okay.
Okay, people now see, any comments?
Joseph Bagley, Mill, 261 Dodge Road. I have a couple comments. With this new plan, how far down from the property line are those houses on the
There's still 150 feet.
still 150 feet
That's right.
from the property line or from the?
From the nearest house.
House to house.
So this is your house here.
No, lines in the back.
I'm sorry, this is Mr. Gagnon, right? Yeah, Mr. Pagliarulo is back here. So what we have shown is a 150-foot radius from the closest point of the house. And you can see that for Mr. Gagnon, it's more than 150 feet to the nearest house. And for Mr. Pagliarulo's property, we're looking at 150 feet to that building, 15/16.
And I know at the last meeting there was some mention of blasting. What's the deal with that? What's the status there? That's a huge concern of mine.
You know, we actually, in response to what the committee had said, what you had said, and the members of the community, we actually moved that home out of that ledge range and pulled it, I don't know if that's, to me it's north, but up and away from the ledge. So I mean, you can't promise there's no blasting, you don't know what's underground until you hit ledge, but we moved, off known ledge, we moved it. We took it off that area.
Right, that was an issue last meeting.
Exactly, and it's a known ledge site, so we moved it. Mr. Georgia.
And I think, to be said, probably ledge and rock doesn't always mean blasting. A lot of times it can be taken out by more conventional means than that.
I mean, blasting was mentioned last time,
Yeah.
and, you know, it's so close to my property.
Yeah.
You know, that's a concern, big concern.
It's the last thing I think a developer wants to do,
We didn't mention.
if it'll come out by other means.
But the cut that you would have had to make before, you don't have to make
Exactly.
under this plan.
Pull it away from the ledge at Outcrop.
Yeah, without further investigation, it's very difficult to predict the effect on nearby homes. You just don't know. Water tables and soil types, how it rated, you don't know. Any other questions?
Well, I'd just like to say...
I think Katrina knows who you are, right?
Yeah, John Gorman, 246 Dodge Road. I'd just like to say the way the article was voted at the town meeting was that the golf course would be 70% or more, which meant that the residential portion of the development would be 30% or less. Now 30% is 26 and a half acres. And we've been fooling around with 12 and a half acres. We still don't have passive recreation as far as I'm concerned here. We don't have access to what's supposed to be the open space, the golf course. You made mention of...
No, it's still definitely on the table.
Yeah.
John, I mean, we're
Yeah.
just trying to look at numbers of units, layout. As I said to you, we're doing more investigation, the town planner has been doing it, to show some precedent, not only in Ipswich, but also around the country. How golf courses can be utilized for the public, open space. I mean, she sent something that we're reading, and how, from a legal standpoint and also from a use standpoint, how the two can, live together.
Right.
And that's being heard by, proponents as well. I mean, I think there's some legal issues because it's separate entities. I know at Turner Hill, there's agreements, right? There's a trail system.
Yeah, that's according to...
And so there are legal agreements and easements between the golf course owners and is it an association of condominiums?
It's a condominium association.
The condominium
Residential
association.
There's some
But I don't think we're there yet,
seasonal
but it's not off the table. It's not off the table.
Well, and the issue of cross-country skiing or trails when the country club is shut down during the winter, I think we're definitely pursuing that. I think we should require that personally.
Well, I don't think that Windover, with the lease they've given to Burton Page, would have put himself in a closet where he couldn't sell the course and not worry about any covenants in the lease that would prevent.
Well, we don't know what the term of the lease is, but leases can be
We don't, but
negotiated.
we really should know.
Well, I think, that's why legal representation, Attorney Mann is here, engineer, the owner, that's why they're here. They're hearing it, and I think they need to investigate and give us feedback. There's unknowns for us. We don't even know if the status of the entire purchase, right?
The biggest issue...
You can speak to this if you'd like.
The biggest issue with...
Why don't you introduce yourself again?
I'm sorry, I'm Ralph DiGiorgio, I'm the developer. The biggest issue is liability, of course, always is one of the major issues. This particular course has a lot of water on it. So in the wintertime, if people are using the course, all that water has to be roped off so nobody goes on the thin ice and falls in. Again, liability. Then there's the matter of damaging the course in the off-season. If you let somebody cross-country ski, someone thinks they can bring a snowmobile on, and then they tear up the course, then who's going to take care of that? Who's going to repair it? It's still my golf course. Even though it's a public course, it still belongs to me. So who's going to be responsible? Am I going to take a collection from the neighbors if they want to use it and tear up the course? Are they going to take care of it? Is the town going to be responsible? Is the town going to post a bond? They're going to indemnify me if there are any injuries or, God forbid, someone gets killed or drowns. So these are the issues that need to be worked out. It really isn't a matter of can we use the course, can we not use the course. It's who's going to assume liability. If the town is willing to assume liability,
No, we're not going to assume liability.
and indemnify me,
I mean, that's not going to happen.
Well-
I mean, you will have an insurance policy, I'm sure,
I
to
understand
cover
that.
situations when someone gets hit up in the head by a golf ball, I mean, or things like that.
That's a
It's
different
just an
story.
extension of what you already have to carry as a golf course forward.
It actually is.
You have people going down
Well,
with
it's-
golf carts.
If
and-
you have invitees,
It
it's a
seems,
different
it
state.
seems to be common practice for these types of.
Well,
golf-
it may have, but I know once we do our research, we're gonna find out that it's not. You know, there's a few, Mount Hood has recently stopped people from sledding on that golf course because someone was seriously injured, and there's a major lawsuit going on. So a lot of golf courses you may think are allowing this, but a lot of them are shying away because of the liability issues. And I'm not saying that I'm poo-pooing the whole thing. I'm just saying that if the liability issue can be worked out, then I'm sure we can come together.
Well, but the town's not gonna be liable, I mean, so that's not even
Well,
a consideration.
someone has to assume the liability.
The problem is it's called a public easement versus a private access right. So when you pay to get on the golf course, you actually pay and you have an assumption of liability. You have to recognize the risks of going on the golf course and playing, believe it or not. You are assuming your own risk. Unfortunately, when you invite people on and you invite the general public, which means children, you automatically change your status and it becomes, you become almost like, I don't know how to, a provider of protection. You have to ensure then that every child who goes on there, if you open it to everybody, you don't post no trespassing signs, there's no nuisance that can harm them. None. So if you have water that's open that can likely have a child fall through, you have to quadrant it off. Not notify it because children can't read all of them. You have to actually isolate it in some fashion or create it to be a non-public nuisance or a non-attractive nuisance. It is a totally different standard. That's why, like you'll see sometimes, you never go to those hills where you can pay to do the hills, where in some private places you go up and you pay to ride the sleds. It's because no little children are allowed without an accompanied adult because you assume your own risk because you have your own equipment. It's a totally different standard. Inviting the public means your level of standard goes up here. It's unbelievable. You wouldn't think it, right? You'd think if you're accepting payment, it'd be the exact opposite. It's not. Especially because of children. So we can work with people, we'll try to do what we can, but it's becoming less common practice because unfortunately society's unbelievably litigious. I mean, you can't drink a hot cup of coffee, you burn yourself in drinking a hot cup of coffee, you can sue McDonald's and get $10 million nowadays. It's ridiculous.
But, I mean, there are precedents where, Katrina said, she said, I was reading it.
Well, I'll give you an
Besides
example.
Turner Hill, I mean,
Turner Hill they're open to their homeowners association, correct? I don't think it's open to the general public.
Oh, I think it is.
Yes, it is.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, because you said there was an agreement between the homeowners association and the golf course.
It's right in the special permit.
There is, but there's a conservation restriction. There's a lot of agreements and decisions filed and recorded at the registry of deeds. I haven't even read through them yet, truthfully.
Yeah, because when you said that there was an agreement between the homeowners association, that led me to believe that that's where the cross rights were. Because just like Ipswich Country Club has, right, don't they have like the cross rights where the people from the golf, the homes can sometimes go on? I know Ferncroft doesn't allow anybody to use their golf course off-season. No one, can't even walk on it.
Ralph, do you know if Far Corners allows cross-country skiing?
Which one's that?
That's the one in Boxford.
Oh, on
North Andover,
North
Boxford
Andover,
line.
Boxford line.
I know that Middleton doesn't because they have winter golf.
All right, it's
So I
something,
think we have to research it.
right, we're starting to research it with, how it works
I
with.
mean, I'll do the same if I can share with Katrina what I
I
thought
mean,
too.
I think it's a really good point. I brought it up in the first meeting. I agree that, not only for the homeowners, who may want to walk have trails, or, for the people who live there. I just think you're segregating, you're getting open space credit, and you're segregating it for only those people who pay to play golf.
Well, that's only because that's the way the bylaw really is kind of written.
No,
It doesn't-
I'm
yeah.
not
I
disagreeing.
mean, but at the same
I'm not
time,
disagreeing to preserve the golf
we-
course.
I mean, and you have to understand with a course like that, they're open. If it's like this winter, a lot of golf courses were open the entire winter.
They don't really shut down.
Never. So it's. Again, if we can isolate liability and we don't have an issue where we're going to be responsible for something happening to a child or having to police a golf course off season, you know, I mean, Mr. Giorgio's a reasonable guy. We all have kids. So we're more than willing to look at those things, and we'll share research. I'll look.
And it
I
may
can't
not
find
be
anything.
possible in the end, but I think it was worth looking into it, not taking the applicant's word for it that
No,
it
you
can't be
should.
done.
I agree. That's why I said I'll
So we're
share.
just looking into it and to see if we agree with them.
Yep.
I also think the planning board should also plan for the eventual failure of the golf course.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I,
You know, and have a whole plan set in place.
Well, on that note, in the special permit for Turner Hill, there's a reference to the fact that the parties would execute a conservation restriction under section 31 and 33 of chapter 184 of the Mass General Laws. Katrina, do you have a copy of that conservation agreement? Or can you
I
get
did
one?
just print it out, but I also came across something that Obama just signed something that golf courses couldn't get a, what is it, tax credits for conservation restriction anymore, and I'm not sure if he signed it.
oh, but that's something different.
Let's
What
not
you're-
cloud- let's not
yeah,
cloud
what you're
that
talking
right
about
now.
is that section is the one that allows, you know how restrictions are only supposed to be for 30 years?
Right.
Well, if you sign it under that, it's
Right.
in perpetuity, it
Right.
goes
Well,
outside.
that's exactly what I'm talking about.
That's
Wait,
what
and
I'm-
I actually have a couple, because I did one in Middleton where I did a conservation restriction that was
Okay,
approved by the,
well, we'd like to see
the
yours,
state.
and
Yeah, I'll send it
I'd
over.
also, oh,
It's
you
the
have it there?
state form.
That's the
Right.
decision and then a conservation restriction, and then here is the agreement between the homeowners at Turner Hill and the golf course.
So these extra copies?
Yeah, this was,
I have
Saved
been in
you
my
some ink.
computer,
This
so I
was
can just
sent to
print
us.
out one.
So-
I mean, you can take these.
So I guess that the state considers a golf course to be passive recreation or passive
No,
use?
if it, with that particular conservation restriction says if your golf course falls into disuse and you have to put it in a permanent restriction, you're allowed to proceed under that particular provision. And then you have the statewide conservation restriction that like the Division of Fisheries has, that you have to get approved by, what is it, the DOEA, yes, you have to, the DOEA has to sign it and approve it in order for it to become perpetual, otherwise it's 30 years. So you get it, that's what you have to do, and that's a form of it.
Do they have to assign and approve it before this development is approved, or when
In tandem.
when the country
Oh,
club
it would
fails?
happen when it would happen at the failure, but you have a they always sign it
but you
because
have
they
the
want it.
contingency in place.
Yeah, so what you do is you have, as part of your special permit, if you will, you append the conservation restriction that would be applicable in the event of a failure of the club. And
So you're saying that the state won't approve it in advance?
Well, no,
Well,
I just want to.
but you can append
Okay.
the restriction.
I mean, I just want to say that this is a crucial issue, in my opinion, because the last thing I want to see is the country club at some point fail, and then someone, not necessarily you, Mr. Giorgio, someone come in with a plan for a subdivision with 70 or 80 new homes. So I want to make absolutely sure that it's open space in perpetuity and that it's
And a
enforceable.
trail system in place.
Or even sell it and combine parcels in the back.
And so,
You know, there's
we'll
parcels.
take a look at what you have, we'll look at what the town of Ipswich has done, but it's all gonna be approved by our town council before I vote for this development.
Well, because if that happened, it could provide access from the back. Absolutely. Any other questions? I really want to open this up, that's why people are here.
Nick Hackman, 250 Center, Dodge Road. I was just wondering, what's going to be left in landscaping along that road?
Can you just tell them what's going to be along the landscape?
All those trees gone?
No, we can, he's going to.
What trees are you talking about?
On the property between Joe's house and mine.
Right here. See the bottom where we don't have green?
I think I know what he's
Southern
talking
part.
about.
He wants to-
Those are
All
all
these trees here, all these trees here, and all these trees here will remain. They're not being touched. They're all staying intact.
You're gonna be, you gotta get into the head to get.
Well, just this little spot to get in here.
No, this way.
This way here, what? We
You
don't have to
gotta
touch
be
it.
into the trees.
We're gonna be hitting trees? Okay, well, I don't believe we are, but there might be a couple trees out here.
Yeah.
But this ridge line, we'll call it, and here, anything in this line here will not be touched, and down here. So we have no plans on taking, those are really full-grown trees, and I don't want them to go. I
And we
want them to
purposely
stay.
And in the course of construction, if there is destruction of trees because of, know, when you actually get into construction plans, sometimes things change a bit. We would ask for restoration. And not only just in a multi-story restoration too, that would give some screening. When we did the Village Green, what's the name of that cul-de-sac? For 1A, we actually asked for multi-story, some plantings to give, I mean, just pine, you can see through it, you know. So, I mean, we want to make sure there's some screening.
That's like a 75-foot area we're not touching.
I like trees.
Yeah, to keep it, and to keep a healthy screening, not something, if there can be enhancements and make it better, we're going to ask for this.
Well, we haven't even talked with the landscape people yet.
And they have that.
Premature to that.
Yeah, yeah. And they have them online, they kind of listen to the whole thing. Who else?
Well, I have another question, if I can go again. Lee Alliance, 200 Dodge Road. Who owns the land right now? Who is the owner of the property?
Windover still is.
And at what point are you going to take possession of the land?
Very short.
Can you tell me when?
No, I
What point?
can't. I don't know. I can't answer
Then how do you
this.
know it's shortly?
Because it's imminent, because we're in the process of acquiring it. And it's going to happen before we build.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know the relevance
But they
of that
need
question. I have
approvals
to be
first.
honest with you. I mean, I
All
don't know
right, I
if
think that's a
really-
private, you know, that's a private matter too. I mean, you asked the question, she answered it.
Okay,
Is there another
accepted.
imminent? Thanks. Anyone else? Because we have to go on, we have other business.
Okay, one quick last question. Where are you coming into this development? From what point? Where the sign that says Carriage Pines is now? Where the opening is now? on Dodge Road?
We're moving it, aren't we?
Yeah,
We're moving it a little
the
bit.
opening that you're referring to is right here, right now.
Okay.
It's moving in this direction to the north
Okay.
to a new entrance at this location here.
And there's one, so when you go, actually come in and go out that same entrance if you live there?
That's correct.
Okay.
The entrance down at the bottom is just an emergency entrance and won't be used.
Okay.
All right, we're going to continue this, so I'll just take one last comment.
I don't understand how this actually fits into the characteristics of the neighborhood. I mean, you get houses, you look all along there, acre and a quarter, a horse farm across the street, and then you got 36 units shoved into 12 acres. I don't get it. I don't get how it's good for the neighborhood. I mean, can someone help me out there? I mean, is it just because that's the way the town changed the bylaws or whatever it's called? I don't get it. I don't understand how it fits in on this small windy street.
But as I said before, I mean, the town has, in the sense, we have central, we have different districts. This is an OSRD. It does preserve open space, and a golf course is defined as open space in the bylaw. There are condominiums, there are over 55 developments. People might say the same thing about some of the CP Berry developments off of Central Street.
Another way to look at this is if you did single-family housing here, I'm sure the number would be far in excess of 36 units.
It's 45.
45.
45 on that.
For the whole tract.
So you'd have 45 families there, and it would be more of a family thing,
And
much
no
like your
open-
neighborhood.
And no open space. I mean,
And
it
no
will-
open space,
It would
and no golf course.
pretty much be clear cut, except for wetlands. The whole area would be clear cut except for wetlands. And in terms of the burden on the town, you know, people express concern about the number of children. This conventional subdivision would have a lot more children than this is going to have. That's a concern. So it puts an impact on the schools and it would have more traffic, because those types of developments do have more traffic. This does preserve open space. I mean, it preserves the country club, and if the country club should ever fail, that would mean there'd be, 70 acres of open space back there that would be open.
It's like 69.
We really tried to lose less of an impact as we possibly could. You know, when we did the design, the options were the 45-unit housing development, conventional housing unit. But again, I think we all agree that the golf course is an asset. We all wanted to keep the golf course. I wanted to keep it, I know the town wants it, the board wants it. So we really tried to make as less of an impact as we possibly could here. and I know I've heard, well, why doesn't the town buy it, and why is it, the property was for sale, been for sale for a long time, and somebody is going to develop this property. And I think we've put a very, very good plan together, the least amount of impact, but you have to understand that the deal has to work for everybody. And if it doesn't work for me, then somebody else might come in with something a little bit more invasive. So I just want to be clear that I'm not trying to ram anything down anybody's throat. We spent a lot of time, effort, a lot of money in designing this, so it's as least impact as possible. And I really don't want to do a 45-unit conventional subdivision. I think it would be a sin to close this course.
With an average house size of what?
3,000 square feet.
At least.
We really don't build 2,500 square foot homes anymore, so it's anywhere between 28 and 3,200 square feet, so average it out, 3,000 square feet. And again, yeah, we'd have no choice but to level the entire place and open it wide out. This really saves a lot of the open space.
Especially with the contours of that site.
Yeah, you have no choice because you'll be doing a lot of cuts and fills. And to do that, you have to take trees down. So, I just it wouldn't be the right thing to do.
So at this point, I think, we're hoping to
Get direction
get
for
direction so that we could...
our next meeting and what we can submit and how we can proceed with Larry and Mr. Jenkins. Because I didn't know how we were supposed to do that with the architect. Originally, we had, David submitting, Paul submitting some visions, because that's what we love to do.
I would suggest that you proceed with working with a landscape architect and the architect, and focus on the comments that we've had tonight, and work or think about, tweaking things, moving
trying to
buildings
give it more
around
appeal, right?
to make them a little more aesthetically pleasing.
Taking in consideration that we've made a lot of progress
Right.
with this from the last formal meeting.
And I think it would also be time to consider a very detailed landscaping plan.
Sure, yeah, that's what we'd love to do.
And we do require that to be done by a certified landscape architect.
Yes. We have Hawk
And
on board.
We would like to see him or her
Come with us.
in this meeting. No,
Come to this meeting, that's what I mean.
Exactly.
We had intended, when we deliver our next step plan, to the extent that's a full-blown, redo of the landscaping and of the architectural, we want to bring our landscape architect and our architect, so that we can have comments out, get them on the table, have the board review, and have immediate feedback versus, here, this one person tells this one, and then you come back, you figure, have a working meeting, be done.
So does the board agree, we still have 36 units?
Yes.
Correct.
I still think that those 2 units next to this gentleman's property, if at all possible, if you could move it more feet, because
Which number?
I can't see. It's
That would be
the corner.
building 15, 16.
This one?
Somehow, if you could pull that away from his home, because 150 feet, even though there's a hill there.
Oh, there's a good visual block.
Yeah.
Because you have the ledge right behind it.
Would be better,
I agree.
yeah. Mr. would be
His
better.
neighbor is closer
I was
than
going to say, his neighbor's
150
closer
feet.
than 150 feet, more intrusive than we are, but considering an
I think
existing
you have to see what the
line.
landscaping plan is.
Yeah.
Right.
We could, to tweak again in that area when it's 150-foot setback, his own neighbors are closer than we are, and we do have a natural buffer, and we have a ledge. I think if you allow us the opportunity to go back with our landscape architect and trying to do something like, Kurt had mentioned, okay, try and do that here, try and give some quality and some depth. I think we can do that. I think trying to move something another 20 feet, 150 to 170 feet, really? It isn't.
Yeah, landscaping.
The landscaping's much more
Landscaping's
important.
more of the critical, I think, factor, and I think we can show that. I think people just,
Only because I know
Work on a draft
is from my
So we
house.
can-
right, but it's clear and open probably and not,
That should parallel.
I think-
that's still virgin land, it's never been tested.
Yeah.
Right.
I
I
think-
haven't been there.
With
for a couple of
ledge.
years.
Oh, you should do, right behind his home? Yeah, ledge out property.
But I think even at 150 feet, it's still coming into the tree line, which means, where's the property gonna,
Right,
where's
so
the property gonna be?
yeah.
Where's the
Existing grade.
yard, or?
Yeah, the existing grade near the proposed roadway is about elevation 70. And the top of this hill where the ledge outcrop is up at elevation 86, so 16 feet higher on top of that hill.
That's remarkable.
Plus the
I mean,
Looking over the top.
Well, for roofline, it's about what?
And maybe we should even do a site visit and go look at that site and see,
Sure.
you could stake out where the buildings are gonna be and we could make an assessment.
We can stick a post in them.
Yeah, to make progress on this, I think, come up with, integrate these final comments in terms of, variability in the front, the parking, what we talked about tonight. And then we're gonna get into the architectural stuff and the landscaping, but simultaneously it's important so our town council can review the legal agreements. If you want to read through all the Turner Hill stuff, it's really light reading, sure. But I mean, you know that, there's plenty of precedent. And to give serious thought about, in terms of landscaping, how are you going to give open space amenities within the site and also talk to the golf club owner or off-site?
I mean, don't forget too, inside, there's over 2 acres in that little center that we're not even showing green. And that's going to be, it'll have little features in it as well. And we'll show that when we meet with Hawk, because we've already had some initial discussions with him. I think we may have talked to Larry about it, I'm not 100% sure. But we have, at least internally, had discussions about that. And we definitely were going to come back with a nice
Tom Miner is a
That's
design, who's a landscape architect that we've worked with on a number of cluster projects like this. And they have a lot of experience, the gentleman does, in working on these projects.
Just want to make sure that the engineers, architects, and landscape people are all talking to each other.
They most
so that
certainly have.
we can come up with the best possible plan.
We do. We actually even have working group meetings to try and make sure it's cohesive, because it can be
We
tough.
want to include the lawyer, but
Are we, Rich?
We're not as aesthetically pleasing, how are we?
We need to go to,
Might have some good
Yes.
ideas.
Have someone on the
Sometimes we do,
schedule
right?
September 10th.
Is it possible for us to be notified if there is going to be a site visit?
Oh, absolutely.
All of us, or?
Well,
It's up to you. What?
It's up to the applicant whether he likes it. Well, that's true. I assume you would invite us on the property for a second.
Yeah, I would just recommend that we have a site walk during the week rather than on the weekend, because the golf course.
Oh, that's right.
So,
Because there will be golf balls.
at afternoon, maybe after work or something, That's the only thing I don't want to.
Well,
okay, so can we continue this to
Already?
8 o'clock? You want to continue it to the next meeting?
You're meeting on September
5th.
so
That's too
Wait a
soon.
minute, I mean, you're gonna have to have
Is it-
one, and I won't be able to.
Is it more,
Am I right, Chris? I mean, I
is it more productive to
think it's better to.
Jill is driving at it.
do it 2 weeks later?
There's a technical letter with engineering and other comments that we need to sort of put our heads together with Larry, but I'd like to be able to proceed with a final design as far as topography, our drainage study, and that sort of thing. And so with this layout sort of set, we'd like to be able to proceed with the final grading and a profile of the roadway, and then be able to sit down with Larry and go through some of the other technical comments. We're going to need more time than
The 19th would be, is that when you have your next meeting, if it's the 5th or?
I can make that one.
How, is that,
more reasonable.
but is that feasible? I mean, what do you think, Larry? Do you think that's gonna be, if Chris gets his stuff back? 'Cause
Well,
don't
I
want-
think we can have a productive meeting at that.
Okay, so, okay.
But do they need all that technical stuff at the next meeting?
We can get a lot of it done because we've started it already, and it's just really getting
It
it back.
needs to get
and
done,
forth.
we might as well get our
Let's
meeting.
make
You know,
progress.
it almost seems good to have a
Between the
big
design.
push, get it done and get back to you, but I just know the 5th isn't gonna happen, that's all.
and we can schedule a site visit at the next meeting.
You could schedule it, yeah, you could schedule it anytime you want.
What's the next?
19th is good for me.
So, and what time, September 19th, because we have nothing scheduled for that.
7:30?
7:30.
19th?
Oh, the 19th, 7:30, yeah. All right, we'll get, thank you for the progress.
Do we want to
The
schedule
motion
a
They want to schedule it afterwards, we'll have this next and then we'll have a second.
Any of the public
So we
hearing
can
to
take care of
September
some of the stuff,
19th
plus we can take
at
pictures.
7:30.
All those in favor?
Second, sorry. 7:30 the right time?
Can I have a second on Cliff's motion, please?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris. And thank you for coming. We have a, I guess I could take it in order. No, I already did, except for David.
Did you hear that? Did you hear the market basket update? I think it was kind of.
I did it in the beginning of the meeting. He's going to come in September 5th, is that?
Hopefully September 5th. He said September, he doesn't know our meeting dates.
Our
yet.
meeting in September.
Hopefully he's available September 5th. But I'll call you again and let you know what happens.
All right.
He thinks that he wasn't going to be here.
I already went through.
All right,
So,
then,
I think, Ms. Hubbard? I also, I'd like to just.
Did you want to say something?
no, go ahead.
Yeah, oh, go ahead. Sure. He came, so you must.
No, I know. Dick Carver, 16 Cedar Lane, and more or less the spokesperson for Cedar Lane, excuse my back. I don't want to belabor the point, but as the board knows, this has been going on now for 4 years. And the representative from Market Basket continues to more or less continue it and continue it. I spoke with Katrina prior to the last meeting, and knowing that no one was going to be here, I deferred not to come, but I really wish I had, because like I've said what I'm saying tonight then, at the end of the day, it's been almost 4 years since this has been started back with the Board of Health, and you know, it's just going to continue unless we really make it move forward. I do appreciate the effort by the planning board, but you know, we need to get some more or less, you know, the only reason that Mr. Matthews came here in the February meeting is because he has something that he wants to do on the property. And we'd like to see this thing move forward, and hopefully someone will come here on the 5th. Okay, thank you very much, Mr.
And
Chairman.
continue to work now that we have a town planner.
Yes, and
the letters that are going out to Mr.
Right.
Matthews are trying to hold him accountable.
Right, and she's done an excellent job, and she's kept me informed, and the reason I really didn't come to the last meeting, because I had spoken to the planner, and she did speak at the last meeting, and more or less said that, right, okay, that's fine, thank you.
And you said that you had met, you know, an architect, a landscape architect who's been out there?
And I understand, to the best of my knowledge, I understand the architect. I know the architect has been out there, because we spoke to the architect.
Architect was sent by Mr. Matthews?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's
Yes.
a good sign.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that was months ago.
Right, no, I understand your frustration.
And the thing is from what I understand,
At least he's
like,
paid.
he's been there, he's done his job, he's submitted it, and, you know, now we're waiting for
Right.
something to happen.
Right.
And to be very honest with you, not to make light of things, but if this was an engagement between a couple, the bride being Cedarwood Lane and the groom being Market Basket, you know what it'd be. Well, you know what? Playing house in the beginning was a novelty, but what are we going to do? Okay, so I leave you with that note.
Thank you, Jack.
Thanks.
All right?
Thank you.
We'll think about that the way
Yes,
else.
yeah, well, don't, please don't.
Thank you
All
for
right,
taking,
thank you for your
thank you
time.
for waiting and speaking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Mary, I just want to take old business. Sorry. I shouldn't have.
So this was a, should I introduce myself for the record here? Mary Rimmer, Rimmer Environmental Consulting.
It's in your package, board.
Representing Susan Coolidge, 125 Patmos Road. The board had issued a special permit for reconstruction of a cottage within the coastal floodplain district. And in the course of investigating the property, the builder took a look at the foundation, did some digging around the foundation, and determined that the existing cinder block foundation is not sufficient to support the proposed renovations. And so what, as a result, they want to build a whole entire new foundation, the same footprint, no other changes, just rebuild the foundation as well as the reconstruction of the cottage itself. So I've already discussed this with Brent and the Conservation Commission. I think and he has issued a letter. Did you receive a letter from him? They're all set with the change. They don't require an amendment to the order of conditions because all the work is within the approved limit of work. It's just a change of materials. Because we had to come before you, I suggested to the applicant that we want to make sure before proceeding that there isn't any further change that the planning board gives as well to their special permit. So hoping that this can be done as part of a kind of field adjustment, minor modification. It doesn't require reopening the public hearing because they were ready to start construction a month ago when this all was discovered. And so
I don't think it requires a new public hearing, that's for sure.
No exterior changes to the building itself?
No, the only change, I mean, because then now they have the opportunity to rebuild the foundation, they're actually going to move the sonotube that support the porch that's closest to the marsh. They'll be moved in landward slightly, so there'll be a slight benefit to moving the existing sonotubes a little further under the building. The porch will be cantilevered slightly over the building. That's the only other change. So. I did provide you with a revised plan with a revised date that has the new owner's name on it now because the property has been conveyed. There's a new revision date. And the only change to the plan itself is the change of the note regarding the foundation. The original plan note said that the renovations will be constructed on the existing foundation. That's been changed to say that it's now a new foundation.
This foundation is going to last longer than all of us. Believe me.
Yeah. Oh, and we do have the structural engineer also provided details.
That's the reason why it's going to last longer.
Yeah.
I noticed the board doesn't have any requirements for minor modifications of special permits. And therefore, does that mean that there is no fee for a minor modification?
No, I don't think so.
We don't need to charge.
I know this has to result in something that can be recorded at the registry of deeds to show the change.
Well, the original, as far as I know, hasn't technically been recorded yet, so it's possible you can...
That was going to be my next question too.
Record this plan instead of the original change the revision date on the commercial permit. I don't know if that's possible.
Do you have an original decision?
Or you could just write a new
Well, you
letter
normally
of
record the
modification.
decisions,
It would just be simple modification to the already issued decision.
Let's do that, yeah. And and make note of this revised plan.
As long as it doesn't, does that require that they have to wait until September 5th at your next meeting to be able to proceed with this, or is this something that...
No, it's not a full decision, it's just a modification. There'd be an appeal period if we held a public hearing.
Yeah,
And it was viewed
Can't
as a
Katrina
major
just
modification.
modify the
Does
original
everyone agree?
decision and have it recorded?
Oh, the applicant would report it.
Yeah, I want to make sure it has to be recorded before you...
The original
start
permit, yes,
building it.
yes. That it was ready to record, I guess, her attorney and held on to it and
Pending
wanted to make
this.
sure, yeah.
Yeah, the building inspector will require it, right, to see proof.
Yeah, so they put,
So you would like me to draft just a short letter amending it,
right,
referring to the new plan?
yes.
And then,
and
do
it's-
I sign for you, or does the board want spaces on it?
I think the chairman can sign.
I can sign it. Is that so? You're going to comment?
I mean, this was the time where they would decide if it needed to be sent to Larry, and it's, I mean, it wasn't sent automatically because it's such a minor change.
I mean, Larry, just hypothetically, if someone changes a plan, and the change is only that they're going to build a new foundation, would even require a new site plan, do you think?
Oh, no, just a minor modification and minor modification written and signed by the chairman. That's what it
Just
is.
something in the record
For the
so that-
reason, and for
Wait,
what
for
So it's
reason.
recorded
question.
correctly, that's all, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
We need a vote.
Yeah, I did. A motion to accept the minor modification to the
Make a motion.
special permit site plan.
Okay. I second that.
Who made the motion? I did, I guess. David seconded. All's in favor?
Aye.
So just so I can convey to my client the timetable, then this is just something that,
Katrina has to
it doesn't
work on
require it to go back to the next meeting, it's
No.
a draft and for it to sign, okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Next.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you.
Hubbard? 121 Patmos Road, Margot Hubbard,
Right.
formal discussion. Do you have anything to say, Katrina, since you probably know more about this?
Oh, I don't know much. All I know is that it did receive a special permit years
Yeah,
ago.
this is the old special permit that was received, and it's expired long ago by the previous owners.
And you'd like to do a small addition.
Yeah, the same addition that was permitted on that permit. It's just not expanding the footprint, just making a bathroom on the existing porch, deck, or wherever that's off the kitchen. So just staying within the existing footprint. And the septic plans are approved by Mill River Drew. Septic plan's been approved. And
Oh, they used to have the floodplain problem. It
Yeah.
was approved by the selectmen, because they used to
Right.
be the approving authority
Yes.
in that plan.
right.
Yeah. So, expansion, renovation, decision of Raleigh Mills, 11.5 flood. The previous owners, 1998.
Right. Anyway, so I'm going for the same thing that they were going for, only it's a little different because at that point, there was going to be a well drilled, and the dry well was a factor in that permit, but we've tried 3 times to find water, and make a long story short, I've received approval from the Board of Health to pursue the option of a water cistern with trucked-in water. So we're pursuing that. We haven't hired anybody or gotten approval for anything formal, but Charlie has said, yes, go ahead and pursue that and come back to us when you satisfy the requirements that they gave us. So I'm in the process of doing that. And I talked to an architect that was going to be on the job, and he said, well, if you got an updated permit for the bathroom, and I said, no, it's expired long ago, and so he said, well, you're going to go back to the town and get a new permit for the bathroom. So, I have the plans here for the septic, and it's elevation 9 goes through half the house, but where the bathroom is, it's above 10. So it's out of both of those. But the property itself is within 9, but just not where the bathroom will be. I know that's splitting hairs maybe, but anyway, that's the way it's situated. And I have the tight tank design that was approved. I have 4 copies if you want to see anything about it. You want to see one?
See,
Yeah,
have a site
was
plan
couple
there.
years ago. And I have 1 copy of the site plan.
The cistern, is that going to be underground? or-
Yes, it would be a 1,000-gallon, you want to see this? It would be, that's all the copies I have, it would be 1,000-gallon, this is what we're pursuing, Kevin.
Right.
Okay,
So
1,000-gallon thing.
Would we have to approve that since that's in the floodplain as well?
It's not within the elevation 9.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
Our
we would.
elevation is actually 15, I think, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
Raleigh's bylaw is strange that way.
Okay, well, let's see.
So I guess what I'm suggesting is you don't want to go through 2
No.
approval processes,
No.
so maybe you should
Right.
figure out if you're going to go forward with the cistern, and then if you are, you know, come for approval for everything all at once, you certainly don't want
Okay.
to come to this board twice, I'm sure.
No,
This was 2009, so where are you with the conservation?
say that again?
The conservation committee?
Yeah, well, the permit with them expires in December, so I've had it for 3 years, for
Okay.
the Concom.
So, my name's Adam Hutchinson, I'm just accompanying
Yeah,
Margot.
sorry.
So just to understand is if the cistern is above 15, then that's fine.
I think it's 15, is that right, Katrina?
You know, I'm not real familiar with that.
I don't know when it changed to, it used to be 10. Now, we voted,
No, it's the 9. It's 9.
No, I don't think so.
I think it's
You got
moved
the-
up.
I've never had to deal with
Well, let's
it.
let's look at the other
I
plan.
bet Brent knows.
Well, it's right in the
No,
bylaw.
no, the plan we just had from Marion,
That's the same as you got.
no, where's that?
Right in the definition of
Oh,
floodplain, Katrina.
Now, where's Mary's plan? Mary River. Why
Base flood?
Why is one where she has the flood?
I don't see it.
I think it's some of the things we're talking from Mill River.
No, here's the bylaw.
It's not airplane clear, it's the same
It must
consulting
be.
firm, Mill River
Oops.
Consulting.
Yeah, it's
Did
Mary.
both. Did
Yeah,
both
they did
plans.
both.
Oh, 15 feet above National Geodetic article?
Right.
But didn't it just change?
Well, the,
That's the chip.
it's still 15 feet, but it's, you know, the NGD, we changed that to
NAD 83.
Right, but that's a minor thing.
Oh, okay.
It's about 6 tenths.
You know where you can get total clarification because from Brent? Because we had-
Well, it is 15 feet, so
Yeah,
any
15
construction activity within 15 feet, that is a requirement.
So, and she would need a brand new special permit because.
Yeah,
That one's old.
really old. But, okay, so the, well, the cistern would be somewhere around here. Here's 14, here's 16. The cistern would be like that somewhere, so I don't know exactly, but it'd be just about,
It's just a prefab item that
yeah,
you place.
NSF approved potable water.
Well, I guess, you know, what I'm suggesting is you figure out whether you, one, whether you're gonna have a cistern, and two, where it's gonna be, and then decide whether, if it's above 15 feet, then you don't need our approval for it.
Okay, okay.
And it's just to be clear, is the intent at this point is to dig that into the ground.
Right.
So I think the lower part of the tank would be under 15 feet.
Yeah, right.
So
Well,
that would trigger the,
Would it?
It's
Yeah.
a construction activity in the floodplain district, so even though it's underground, I mean, I don't know, we've never encountered it.
No, I don't think so.
No?
No, I think it's a surface. It's determined by the surface.
Yeah.
That would be my.
Okay. Well, it's,
Which would help,
Huh?
which would help with these plans.
I mean, if you build a house out of the floodplain, but you're 1 foot out, but your footings go down 4 feet.
Right.
That doesn't put you back in.
Yeah.
You're out.
Right.
okay, so it's
So it's
just
not
back to the
obstructing
bathroom.
the flood wall at all. Okay.
But you want to show as much as you can of what you're doing, so you don't forget something. You have to come back.
Oh, well, it'll have to be put on the plan,
Yeah.
yeah, when we find out if it's possible, yeah. Well, that comes first, I mean, the water has to be solved before we even worry about the bathroom, so, I'm assuming the water will be solved, some way, I mean, you know, you gotta live there, so, some way or another, it'll
You
work
can
out.
solve the toilet problem.
I have an approved composting toilet.
Oh, okay, then you don't need the water.
That's right here.
I don't need it for the toilet, but I need it for the shower, sink.
Really, 500 is enough.
Yeah, well, composting toilet, low flow shower head, only 2 sinks, but, you know, yes, that was approved.
With the way the water rates are going in, Raleigh,
Yeah.
you should be collecting your water and using it.
Yeah, well, I am, yeah. Right, I agree, everybody
I
should.
need it for irrigation, so start collecting it.
Right, yeah.
I need more rain barrels, it keeps going.
There you go. Water.
So we just want to understand any other,
Right.
just what the requirements for a special permit construction might be, so to keep it out there.
Now, you are doing this, you're planning to also do the new addition?
Just the bathroom, that's.
Just the bathroom?
Just the bathroom, nothing beyond that, and that's within the
The
existing
footprint of the existing wood deck?
Yep. Just
Right,
a
if you do the
square-
bathroom,
Yeah,
does that change the footing?
the
Would there be a
footing,
foundation too?
it, yes.
You'll have to put in a foundation.
Yes,
So it's the same situation as the other,
as is the bullet.
it's similar, yeah. And then replace the deck.
Well, the board can extend a special permit that's expired. I mean, this is expired a long time ago, so.
No, with a decent plan.
Well, there's some other things that have changed too.
I wonder, maybe Larry could take a look at the approved plan and whatever it is you want to go ahead with and give us an opinion of whether we can just approve this without public hearing and extend the special permit even though it's been one. Make sense?
If so directed, I will. I know absolutely nothing, so I need to be brought up to speed of, past history and everything else,
Yeah.
put a package together.
Is that all right?
Do you ask for money for the consultant fund in that case for him to review?
Well, we really should, yeah.
We'll have to pay Larry.
That's okay.
So,
Your expenses aren't gonna go far.
No.
if you can put together a packet, including the existing approved special permit with your current plan.
Well, it's right here.
Oh,
Can I just give it to you? I mean, I have it all right here. This is
Okay,
This
right.
is the expired thing.
So we
Here's
just hand it to
here's a
Larry?
copy of the Titanic. That's the approved
Complete
plan.
package, I don't know what pieces.
No.
Okay, that's all I need?
Well, yeah,
Okay.
that's all he said.
Okay, there's no previous plan?
No,
Approved plan?
that's the only approved plan.
Approved plan, is there a now
A new
proposed
plan.
plan that's?
No, there's no more. That's the proposed and already approved plan, approved by the board.
From 2009.
so there's no changes. you're saying?
But you said you had a permit
yet.
from the
Not yet.
conservation.
Well, let's,
Well, if I get a cistern, it'll be added to the plan. If I
Okay.
get approval to actually have a cistern and, completely forget
Well-
about the idea.
But that's out of our purview too, right?
Well,
Because
I'm
That-
just
that was
answering your
important.
question,
Right.
then it will then be added to the plan.
okay, so an underground cistern, we don't have to look at.
Right.
Some of it's above ground, right?
What, the
The
cistern?
cistern, is it all
Well,
underground?
just the top part. But
Yeah,
mostly it's
yeah, if you look
it's
at the-
below ground, yeah.
Right, you can see it.
Below frost and insulated. and all
Well,
that.
I mean, maybe this has been so long ago, maybe, I don't know, have the laws, pertinent laws changed, the regulations? I mean, on whatever they're doing, I mean.
Bathrooms.
Right, what is Larry supposed to look at if there
Yeah,
are
I'm not
changes?
sure. I'm not sure, that's why I'm
Yeah,
asking, is there any reason, Larry, you think you would need to look at this and give us a recommendation as to whether?
I would prefer, this is 2009, okay? You're not sure, you need to have a plan exactly what you're going to do.
Okay.
That's
I
not
can- we can go
exactly
that
what you're
way.
going to do.
That's true. So
Give
you want me
that
to
to Larry,
just back
right.
off until I know exactly what I'm gonna do and then come back
That's
to you?
probably better.
Yeah, and then you're not
Okay.
saying Larry to look at stuff that's not gonna be approved by us.
Right, that makes
And an
sense.
updated plan, new dates.
Well,
That way we
it's
can
updated.
sort of change,
It's
move on it
updated.
more quickly, then he's not wasting
I
time.
understand, it totally makes sense. to me. Listen
The
to
other
that.
thing is,
Yeah, it's easy for you.
do you have a copy of the order of conditions from the conservation?
Yeah, but not here. I have it at home.
You send it to Katrina and she'll forward it to Larry. You wanna look at the old?
When the whole thing is
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah,
Wait till it all comes.
Why don't you
Yeah.
get an entire,
I think,
the
I
best
can do
course of
that.
action, get
I can do
get
that.
all the information
Yep.
and what you want to do.
Yep, I'll do
You can
that.
even write a description if you want.
Okay,
Up-to-date approvals from the Board of Health, make sure that you get an affidavit from the Board of Health.
well, I already have, well,
They do, well, not affidavit, but a
no,
letter.
it's, this is the approved Board of Health plan.
But is there a note from them? That's from the,
A note, is there a note, a cover letter?
but that says 2009, that's 3 years ago. I want to make sure the current Board of
Oh,
Health
for the system, yes, okay, of
has
course.
no issues.
That's
I wanna
assumed,
make-
if I have it approved on the
Yeah.
plan, I will have the Board of
Yeah,
Health.
that's all, just a letter from
Yeah.
them
Yep,
that they have no issues, a letter that the Conservation Commission has no issues,
okay.
and then we can proceed with us not having those issues.
Okay.
Because they have a lot of jurisdiction. in this.
Yeah,
Day-to-day questions, call Katrina.
okay, all
And
right.
get that packet to Katrina, Larry, look it over from
Okay.
a planning board perspective, and then we can just
Okay.
sign it
Hopefully you can just extend your permit and not have to make you go through a public hearing.
with a letter, just with a letter
Okay.
that we extend it.
Okay, that seems pretty
Even a
straightforward.
public hearing won't be a big deal.
Just it delays, it's
If
just.
we can avoid it.
Yeah,
Well, this is
I
better.
don't want to make this more expense than that, but
Yeah.
the expense into
We'll
the
let-
plan.
Yeah,
Change-
thank you,
just do it
okay.
like-
That all makes sense.
So we just extending it
From
permit.
expensive application.
Just so I can be straight.
Yes.
So are you directing her to come up with a new plan showing basically the same thing, an updated plan?
She doesn't know exactly what she's doing.
Figure out what she's doing,
Mm-hmm.
put it on a plan,
Okay.
we'll give it to Larry, he'll give us his
Yeah.
opinion.
All right.
Get approval, yeah. I mean, I have to go back to the Board of Health to get them to approve this. And they said, we give you approval to pursue it. Then when you get all your ducks in a row, you have your systems engineer, you know, the water systems guy, and he comes up with a plan and he says, yes, I can do this. And I go to Charlie and I say, here's what we can do, and he says, good, do it. And then I'll put it on the plan, this plan, and then I'll bring it back.
Okay.
Okay, so we're not gonna hold him.
Thanks.
We just want
We made it
accurate,
really easy.
we just want accurate information, we're not gonna cause you a bunch of bureaucracy. We're gonna try to minimize.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
See you later.
Thank you, have a good night.
Where we go left?
Bills are payable?
Gels Group?
No, I don't.
Pardon?
Just for David.
Yeah.
I already mentioned
Well,
it.
Oh, you
To
did?
the rest of the board. at the beginning.
Oh,
Right.
I should put those down in a minute.
Do you have any comments? I was gonna, we have a, you should have, you give a copy of Larry Graham's review letter for 300 Newburyport Turnpike Chief, since she doesn't get it on the
Did I
computer.
slip one in yours?
No, it's just
No, I
Candy Crush.
didn't, I didn't.
Does Larry, you want to say anything?
Oh, wait, I do, I have,
No, I wrote a report to the board.
That was a recent report. Some of the salient issues on that are signage needs to be
Brought up to approval.
not only brought according to what the plan is, but also they have to be approved signs and not just stenciled by. They were, so we can construe those to be temporary. And that's also, I think, in collaboration with building inspector. And the other one was that we're still waiting for the recording of the
Apparently, yeah.
and you said he would come in with $1,000 check to replenish the funds.
That was the third thing. Larry's ongoing review.
I think you might add too, that essentially was a 3-month review. The board established 3, 6, 9, and 12 months reviews for the parking. I saw no reason for them to do anything to accelerate or to change their parking provided. I have no reason to believe that it's being overparked there, other than the north side, which I mentioned in the book.
All right, so read that memo, and I would expect when they have these conditions met, they would ask to come in for modify their special permit site plan for the
Would you like to schedule them for a certain meeting?
I suppose we could.
They don't need a time. I just didn't know if you wanted to skip a meeting or just put them on the September.
Scheduled for the 5th. A motion is scheduled. Well, that should be a motion. Okay, the last thing, please.
Do they really need to come in for a meeting if they just get everything done?
That's what I don't think. That's what I was telling Katrina. That's why I didn't think he necessarily.
Well, then would it just need a, how would Ken get something, the sign that he can issue an occupancy permit for those businesses? He needs something concrete from the board.
Oh, okay. If the board decides that they're not going to sign off on it because the signs themselves are not done, it's because they're still parking along the north side and all those kind of things, then yeah, they need to, the board needs to act on it after
Yeah, they have
they
to,
take care of it.
because that's why he's coming before us, that Ken is holding him up.
Well, yeah, he came before us to tell us, and the engineer submitted a report that said that it's not going to require any additional parking. In fact, it's going to require less. And my report says, how did you come about that number? How many seats are in the yogurt shop? Can you tell us?
Right.
They probably can just respond to that report.
Yeah.
Or they can come in and talk around it.
No, I would have him respond, and when he's in compliance, and Larry says they're in compliance, then get back to Katrina, and I would proceed.
And
And you
then
can
tie it
take
up with
action
a
at the
letter
board
from the
meeting.
board,
Right.
so that Ken has it.
Jen has it. Also, can you, do you have anything to say on the accounts?
Nothing, I provide them, it doesn't,
Okay, people
unless
read them.
anyone has a question
Anybody else have
about any.
questions or comments?
You may have taken note of one where, let's see, in the planning board revolving check for Downriver was submitted. She did put a bank hold on the $1,000 portion of it. So it's come back out, and we're working on resolving that in the office, and we've been communicating back and forth. I do have a question about one of the conditions for Downriver Ice Cream, the light across the street. There was two choices, either a light on the property or the light across the street, and it was preferred that it was a light across the street. But they could choose to put the light on the property also, right? Even though it would cost more probably because you have to put a new pole in. All right, just wanted to. Yeah, I have no more comments on these fences. I do have comments on other things. Are you?
Go ahead.
Okay. The pictometry payment request. The pictometry is this program that they fly and take pictures of Rowley every 2 or 3 years. Costs a lot. And so Brent kind of organizes payment to MAPC, and he asks... Oh, I'm sorry, MAPC. I'm used to working in Beverly Woods, metropolitan area. He asked for $1,300, but I believe you verbally agreed to $900.
Yeah.
But it can be split between 2 years, so fiscal year 13 and 14. And so I do just want to warn you, we are spending more money, not because I'm a spendthrift. I think planners just are costing more because of APA membership, things like that. I just wanted to tell you that it may be a tight year as far as our expense budget. And so that's why I was questioning too, you know, if Larry doesn't have to take money from the, what is it, the planning account?
Consultant.
Planning consultant account, that would be good because we may have to borrow from it by the end of the year.
Well, he hasn't typically used it up. We borrowed a lot from it this year, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just, after talking with Debbie, I'm just trying to keep a sharper eye
Well, we had to
on
pay
the
Karen Milo and so
expenses.
forth, you know, we did.
And so everyone approves of the 450 this year and then next year?
It's better to split it up.
Pictometry. Okay.
Where did the
Hawksworth?
results of that end up in your office? The pictometry?
Oh, we have it right on our computers. We have access to it. So we can all access it. I haven't used it that often, but maybe as the planner, I would have more of a need for it.
It's pretty cool.
It's a little invasive. It's really see detail. And just an update on the bond expiration date for Hawksworth. Jeff Clark will be in touch with his bank tomorrow. And he's thinking of switching to a letter of credit, but he's working on it, and you know, we will have a new expiration date soon. And I think that's it.
Okay.
There's stuff to sign for the expenses.
Yes, thank you.
Well, you're going to sign.
I can,
Well, not yet.
just want to know what it is.
Can we adjourn?
I want you to all sign it tonight. They'll be all set.
Once you go.
can pass, some of you have already come in and signed some of those.
You wanna, I don't know, what about Country Gardens? No.
They've submitted a revised plans, some drainage calculations, no application is my understanding. I have some architectural sketches from the previous submittal, and as I usually do, I email, but you didn't get the letter today, Katrina, on the fee estimate?
For Country Gardens?
Yeah.
You sent it today? Why would I not have gotten that?
But
I can check it right here.
estimated initial review at $1,500, a follow-up at $1,750, and a final review and the writing of the certificate of vote at $750, total is $4,000. That might seem a little bit high, but I'm looking at the plans again. I won't recommend you reject them as I did the first time, but it was close.
Sign that one.
Larry, I did not get it.
Still pretty bad?
Yeah. Who's the engineer?
Apple.
I'll muddle through it. But I'm not gonna, it's not gonna be streamlined, that's why the cost is up there.
I know Brian can't find me.
Pay now, pay later.
Can I take that one for the file? Just, that was
David
I was
signed.
listening to you.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Did I miss one? They're trying to find the initial application that got lost in the check.
I haven't come across it yet.
But
Doesn't mean there's anything there somewhere.
Well, your office looks neater.
Yeah.
People's fine.
has everybody signed everything? That's all I have. A motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Thank you all.
No, wait a second,
Thank
Cliff
you.
needs to sign this one.
Let's sign this one.
You good? What?
Well, I guess
Sign out. I don't know
on
where
the
these
gardens,
things are
you're
coming.
approving it, that they should submit this before I get started.
I signed it, okay. No, good.
Yeah, there's
Well,
three
people are
on
signing,
that
I'll
one.
second.
Yeah.
Second for the motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
See you guys later.